Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast. Earlier this year, back in January, I was scrolling on Instagram and I came across a video of a man talking about mental health, about checking in with yourself and how we pay so much attention to what is happening physically, but actually it's your mental space that's so important. And there was something about this video that just completely captured my attention, and I just thought, who is this man? I need to know more, because there was clearly something going on that I hadn't seen within this video. So I then found your Instagram page. I scrolled more, started stalking. I found out all about his daughter, Azaylia. I found out all about his partner. And I can honestly say that from the start of January this year, I have thought about you guys and your family every single day. And for that reason, I am so delighted to welcome you, Azaylia Cain and Safiyya Vorajee. Hello.
Hello.
How are you both?
Hi. First and foremost, thank you for inviting us both down today. Really appreciate it. And it's been a really tough time. Still is tough.
Yeah.
I guess it's always going to be tough. But we're supporting each other. We're staying strong. And we're just on this journey now to make our daughter proud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want today to be a bit of a celebration of Azaylia. And we can talk about the amazing things that you're doing in her name. But let's go right back. So first of all, I want to know about you two. What were your childhoods like?
So my childhood was really, really warming with family, and my brother, he was just such a fun person to grow up with, and still now he's like my rock. He's like my best friend.
You go on many bike rides together.
Yeah. I tell you what, he's at my door every single morning, isn't he? Yeah, literally knocking on my door, get up, out you come. And yeah, he still ain't changed. So yeah, growing up was just so like warming and lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a massive family, loads of larger than life characters. I've got two younger sisters, two older brothers. My older brothers were all born in September. We're all 2 years apart.
Right.
Fun fact. I've got a mum who's just beautiful. She's so loving and caring and such a soft person that is there no matter what. And then my father's a bit of a old school, kind of tough fatherly figure, but he's a great dad. And I can take great kind of elements from both of them and have done over my life to make me who I am today. I think it was important in my family growing up that you had to be strong, you had to be a bit of a character to survive. And some of those traits, a lot of those traits I've taken into my life now, which have really helped me get over some of the trials and tribulations that I've been through, and none greater than the last one.
Yeah.
But as a family, absolutely amazing. And they've always been there to support me through everything. So really grateful.
I imagine 5 larger than life characters as well. It must be very loud.
Yeah.
Loud. Wow. It's so loud. It's so energetic. They're amazing.
Did you two grow up near each other at all, or you did?
Yeah, we're in the same area, radius system.
Same town.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And when did you first meet?
I don't actually know, do you?
Well, wow. I think
testing you out. Come on.
I think we'd known of each other for a couple of years before we actually met and started dating. I wouldn't say that we were close. I think we knew of each other. Then all of a sudden, randomly, we must have met, exchanged numbers, and then the relationship developed from there. And then we haven't looked back since.
Did you talk about families and whether you wanted one yourselves?
I think I talked about kids from quite early because my family's so big, and because the uncles and aunties, they've got quite a lot of kids. I always wanted a family.
Either that or he's seen good bait.
Let's just talk about kids because chicks love that.
You know that's not the case.
But it is that thing, I think, when you enter a relationship, it comes to a certain age, shall we say, that is a topic of conversation that you bring up.
I feel like with our relationship, I feel like Ashley was, I'd probably say you was like more insisting on a family.
Yeah.
And I think that's because as a man, it's probably a lot different to a female. Female, I probably think that you think, is it going to be this? Is it going to be this? You reflect on your own childhood. And for me, reflecting on my childhood was a big reflection of having a child. Is it the right time?
Yeah.
Is it the right person? Am I going to be prepared? Am I financially stable? Am I this? Am I that? You have 100 things as a female that go through your mind and you think, is this the right time? All I knew is that Ashley's family, loyalty, how he is as a character, how loving he is, was just like electric.
Yeah.
Which made me feel like at an age, I kind of thought maybe when I'm 30, if I don't have a child, probably won't have one. And, you know, we decided to have Azaylia, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that was amazing for me, because it took somebody so special to make me feel like, I am excited, like I want this family. And I think that fulfillment that Ashley gave me, that confidence to know that he was going to be the most incredible dad, I knew that, I felt that.
Oh, I appreciate that. I hope so. For me, I think the reason why I was ready is because I just wanted to be myself.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the life that I've lived, it's taken me everywhere, from being an athlete to a pro footballer to TV to being a DJ. And all of these kind of things are personas. I was a young male and persona, but away from that, away from the decks or away from the screens, I was always back with my family.
Yeah.
You didn't see me around here, around there. I would always be around my family. So the one thing that I wanted was a family of my own. And just a chance to be myself and kind of give and show all the love that I had. And that's why I wouldn't say like I was pushy, but I was kind of very suggestive towards the idea, because we'd been together for a while.
Yeah.
We really, really got on. And I thought we'd be great parents.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And when it happened...
Well, can you remember taking the test and finding out?
Taking the test. Oh, wow.
I told her she was pregnant.
He
She didn't
Told
know.
you?
Yeah, I
Tom
knew.
does this to me. I'm like, don't pretend you've got like a sixth sense of when I'm
Honest.
pregnant or not.
I thought
knew.
I was
You
really
knew?
poorly. I really thought I was poorly. I was just coming back, going to sleep, weren't I? And did you call me? I don't
Well,
know.
I had a feeling that morning, and then I gave you a call and I told you to get a test.
Yeah, when I got the call to say get a test, I thought,
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't something like we came off contraception and then we just tried, so I knew. It was happening for a while, and it wasn't something that turned around quickly. It was kind of, we were kind of thinking, are we capable? Is this going to happen?
Yeah.
That's what stage it got to. So...
But also, though, you spend so much of your life trying not to get pregnant. So when there is that switch, and you don't know what that contraceptive pill is doing to your body when it's, you know, everything takes a while to kind of readjust.
Because I even thought, we even thought it was me for a stage. Like I even went and everything was fine. So that's what I mean. And that day there was something different about it. I would say I'm very into, like, it's like I listen to my Native American flute music. I deep breathe. I meditate. I'm really in tune. Like the reason why I wanted to do this podcast in person today is because I believe in energy, and I wanted to feel your energy, but also I knew that you sitting in front of us guys, you would feel ours.
Yeah.
So I'm really into that, and it's not because I want to be, I just kind of am. So that day I just knew, and like I say, I rang her and I told her to get a test. She got a test.
So we got the test, took it, and then left it on the took the test, and then...
No, you didn't. You gave it to me.
No, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Then I put it on the side, like waiting for it to come up. Then me and Ashley were in the living room, and then he was like, I want to go and have a look first. So I was like, I actually thought, go on then. Go and have a look. Because I just thought, I've took tests before and they just come back negative. And I thought, go on then. I thought, I know I'm poorly. Then he's come back in and he's, oh my God! And I thought he was joking, and I thought, oh, he's winding me up, here he is. And then literally he showed me the test, and I mean, got another test, and it's kind of like...
I also got some alcohol to
Yeah.
celebrate,
Did you?
because I knew we didn't need another test.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Just pea sticks for you, lots of alcohol.
I actually
danced the whole night.
danced for her.
Really?
Like, I didn't dance for her like that, but we party and we dance. So I
Yeah.
literally had the music on, had some beers, and I danced till about 5 o'clock in the morning. Literally. Because I was so happy.
Yeah.
Honestly.
We had such a good night, didn't
Yeah,
we?
it was
I'm there
awesome.
sober, thinking, great, can't Woo! Yeah, it was amazing.
That's so lovely.
Yeah, I still hold them now. Still got them now.
Yeah.
Really?
Every last little bit, still got. Yeah.
And what was the rest of your pregnancy like?
I was actually a soldier. Like, I have to put my hands up. I was good. I was actually a really, really good pregnant person, I feel. I feel like it was always so strange, you know, like feeling the pop for the first time, thinking, what's that? Okay, it's movement. Like, oh, this is bizarre. And then, like, having a craving for, like, strawberry milkshake was my, like, go-to. Like, and it was amazing, incredible, beautiful, and kind of scary at the same time because you don't know what to expect. So many people are telling you, oh, you're going to feel this, you're going to do this. Labour, it's going to be like this. And you think, okay, like that person, until it kicks you.
Yeah.
And it goes, and you're like, oh, that's the feeling. And then you think, oh, that's the feeling. But through pregnancy, I feel like I was quite domesticated. I was
Proper nesting.
Yeah, like really, really. I'm quite a domesticated, hands-on person anyway. But through pregnancy, because I knew that, oh, we got a baby girl, she's coming. It's kind of like, have that ready, have that, everything. All dot the I's, cross the T's.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, what did that feel like then when you found out you were having a girl?
amazing. We literally was on the way. Sorry, I get so excited about this. I get so
You're not getting a word in edgeways, right?
No, not for the minute. Not for the minute. But we was in the car on the way to a clinic to find out the gender. And like I'm so like spiritual, law of attraction, all of this kind of stuff. Like that is so me. And we were driving, and on the way to find out the gender, a pink balloon flew in front of the car. And I was like, did you see that? Did you see it? I was like, that is the sign. Like, this is the girl. And then literally, I tell you about you can talk about the scans and when we was in the room and bouncing up and down and Ashley was eating my sweets.
Yeah. I mean, going back to what you said at the start about siblings. So my oldest brother, he's got a little baby boy. Really, really cute, lovely kid. And so then he was the first. And then obviously we found out we're pregnant. So then, Saf was pregnant, not we.
We're a team.
Yeah. So then I rang my middle brother, Matthew. And I rang him up and I said, hi, mate. I said, just letting you know, you're going to be an uncle again. And he went, yeah, so are you. And I was like, huh? And we set our due dates, and Azaylia was due 5 days before his baby daughter, Anaya. But we didn't know if they were boys or girls. So he was going to me, I know it, you're going to have a boy. And I was like, yeah, I am, aren't I? You're going to have a boy. And we both wanted boys because we were lads. And then when we found out we were having girls, we found out we were both having girls together. And it couldn't have been better. There was just something about kind of two brothers finding out they're having little girls. And we live right next to each other as well.
Right.
So it was amazing. And I can honestly say, I wouldn't, I know it sounds cliche because I've had Azaylia now, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. There's just, I believe there's just a special connection between a daddy and his daughter. And to be having a baby girl with your brother as well at the same time, it was just incredible. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were 5 days apart, weren't they? In the end, Anaya was born 5 days before Azaylia. But it was
really nice as well to actually have like my sister-in-law Amy, she was pregnant at the same time, so it was lovely. And then we've got Nikki as well, she's our other sister-in-law, she's got her baby, my brother's got Michelle, and we're suddenly all becoming this big team.
And also how that family then changes because there are children in the mix.
Everybody.
And everyone's coming together in a very different way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What was it like seeing Safiya pregnant and her body changing? Because obviously for Tom, it was really weird. It was happening to me. So we'd constantly be trying to check in, like, how you feeling? What's it like? And I'd be like, I'm fine. No, leave me alone. But is it strange having your baby growing within a woman, like, within your partner, but not knowing what that's like?
it was kind of like, that's not my responsibility, babe.
He ain't joking.
I don't know. There's something about like Safiya that I was so worried, honestly, about her pregnancy, just in terms of like emotions and how it's going to be.
Yeah.
But Safiya's got a funny thing about, if there's a small problem, it could be something massive. Yeah. But then when you think, oh God, there's a big problem, she just rides the wave.
Right.
So cool. So she handled pregnancy amazingly. You were tough. She was painting the house. She was cleaning.
Proper nesting.
She was still doing stuff. And I think for me, it was just more about checking in. But I think because she handled it so well, there wasn't really a time when I was really concerned. I just like to check in with the bump, speak to the bump, make sure the bump was okay, and we just kind of lived how we were living anyway. It was just so normal. And I think that's credit to Safiya in the fact that she dealt with it absolutely amazing, and she was a champ, to be honest.
Were there many more nights with Safiya on the sofa while you danced for her?
There's quite a few. Yeah.
That's not for this show.
That used to happen quite regular.
So talk to me about the birth, because you had a C-section, didn't you?
Emergency.
An emergency C-section. Yeah. So how did you feel then going towards that moment? Was there any anxiety? Because birth, as we know, is unpredictable, and we all, we have plans, but it's a case of throwing them out the window and just going with what happens. How did you feel going into hospital?
So obviously it was COVID at the time, so it was very difficult. I managed to get an app that I could literally press the start and stop for contractions. So I was really good at having that. And the next minute I just thought like, okay, they're coming fewer and closer together. So obviously I had, at the time, like I had my aunties there, breathe, deep breathing. And then the next minute I was like straight into hospital.
Really?
Yeah. And luckily, our hospital was really, really good. And because I'd been on the phone to them checking in and whatever, they allowed you straight in, didn't they?
Yeah.
With us. I think it was like 12 hours. But I was on that gas and air to the point where they was taking it out, and I thought I was still on the gas and air. Yeah, because
just placebo effect. Just make her think.
It was the only way they could get her to stop.
Really?
Yeah, she wouldn't stop, and they were saying you have to stop because we're not going to be able to do this, and she wasn't listening. It was quite frustrating for me because I was enjoying the gas and air as well. So anytime they wanted it taken off her, I'd make sure like I reiterated it so I could have a couple of breaths. But it was long.
Yeah.
It was long.
The epidural didn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I took that. As soon as I went in, and I was kept asking, what does labour feel like? Okay, so you're going to know. And I was like, oh, I think I'm in labour now, I think. And then it was like, well, when you're in labour, you know you're in labour. Like,
that's the thing, because we all go into it not really knowing what that's going to feel like.
No.
And I think even with different pregnancies, each time it's different.
Yeah.
So you don't know what is going on until it's,
As soon as I felt that first pain, I was like, epidural.
Had you, before going in, had you been like, no, I'm just going to gas and air? No plan.
I kept open option.
Nice.
So to my midwife, I was like, give me epidural. I want epidural, because I thought I can always change my mind if I don't. But no, as soon as I felt that, I thought, and this is going to get worse.
Yeah.
I was like, sit me up, pop it in the back. But yeah, it didn't work. So 12 hours later.
So when did you realise that it didn't work?
After you get the an extra top up.
Yeah.
And then it was just like excruciating pain because Azaylia ended up breaching.
Right.
So we went spine to spine.
Yeah.
So then it just started to become a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
And then the doctor came in, and I think I was really gassed out, so you'd probably be better off.
I mean, Safiya, she really didn't want a C-section. You didn't want one at all, did you?
No.
And then it got to the point where we're at this stage, Safiya was gas and aired. It was like she was drunk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, at that point? So they offered the chance to have a C-section, and I just said, yeah, like I kind of said, we're going for it, because there was too much there was too much stress and trauma around Saf at that time.
Yeah.
And I didn't want any more of that. And then also for baby Azaylia, I just thought we need to get Azaylia out now.
Well, that's all anyone wants, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It doesn't. I think there's so many things that we do go into it kind of going, well, I really like this to happen, but there comes a point where you've got to kind of go
Just for the safety aspect as well.
Yeah. You've got to leave all of that, I think,
Yeah.
behind, and in that moment go, what's going to keep us both safe?
Yeah.
I think then it turned into a little bit of it was a bit of an emergency, going into an emergency C-section. And what happened, I think, because I had the epidural and I've been in labour for 12 hours, my body was kind of going into shock. So my body was just shaking. I couldn't stop it. So it was just fully shaking. So I remember just lying on the table, and all I could hear, I was zoning in. It's like I knew my body was shaking, but I could hear everybody clear.
Right.
And it was sedation. All I could hear was sedation. And then I was thinking, like, where's Ashley? I could just see a screen in front of me.
Yeah.
I could see hair nets, blue uniforms, but I couldn't hear Ashley's voice anywhere. And they were saying, like, okay, we're going to have to give you general, like, your body's shaking, like, you know. I'm like, well, is Ashley here? No, he can't be in the room at the same time if you're going to have general. And I remember just screaming, "Get Ashley here!" He could hear it down, I don't know where he was sitting.
Yeah.
But I was literally like pleading with him. And then obviously I know like sedation goes into your hand. Then my hand's up in the air. And I'm thinking, I know what's happening. So I was like pulling my hand down. I was like really wrestling, like, get Ashley. I thought, do you know what? He cannot miss the birth of his first baby. Like, he cannot. And if it's down to the fact of me, like, I need to man up here. I need to like really like embrace this. I said to them, if I can keep my body still and like just try and calm that, they could numb the area up,
Right.
so then they could deliver safely. So that's when I was like, I was holding on to the side and literally
Really?
like shaking.
They were actually talking about sedating her because she was like a hooligan. That's what it was. It wasn't for any other reason. They were saying, "Madam," she thinks it.
Calm down, please,
She
madam.
thinks it was that way around. They weren't going to let me in. They were actually telling me I couldn't come in if she didn't calm down. So they will have to sedate her if she doesn't calm down.
Really?
Yeah, because you were going mad. I was sitting outside.
Bonkers what happens in those moments
Yeah.
though, where you're just not you.
Oh.
You're
Yeah.
completely it's that, but it's the animal instinct, isn't
Yeah.
it? Something else takes
Yeah.
over. It's your body. It's not you in a
I was
conventional way.
just outside like that, and I could just hear her go mad. They're going, "Madam, we're gonna have to sedate you in a minute if you don't calm down." And I was thinking,
It's like a Friday night out.
Yeah,
Without the handcuffs behind my back.
yeah, it's crazy. But we made it. I made it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got in there.
And what
Yeah.
was that like, meeting Azaylia?
I can't even describe it. All I can remember is them laying Azaylia down, and I don't know. I felt like I was a kid. I felt like I was a little kid again. And I remember saying to the nurse, "Is it okay if I kiss her?" And she went, "Of course you can. It's your baby." And I just, you know, when you got something that precious, I didn't know how to touch her. I didn't know how to hold her at that point because I was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I couldn't actually believe it. And then
The first thing I heard was, Saf, look at her. And
she was shaking.
all I just thought in my head is how beautiful. I just looked at, she was healthy. I could hear her
Yeah.
scream. And I thought, oh no, I said, cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah, I cut the
And you
cord.
cut that, didn't you?
Yeah, so that was amazing. And I just made sure that before Saf had to go, that we took her in so Saf could see her. And yeah, like it was a surreal moment. You know when you've been looking forward to something like so much for so long. I mean, obviously you know the feeling, and just as a dad and seeing your little princess for the first time, it's a feeling that I can't describe. But yeah, it was truly amazing.
What was it like for you? Well, because did you have 2 rounds of meeting her? One because
Yeah.
you were so out of it, and then another when you could
Yeah.
actually take it in.
Yeah, I think the second time of me coming round to meeting her was she needed feeding.
There we go.
That's what it was. I remember seeing her and thinking, oh, she's healthy. And then it was feeding time.
But it's so funny. I've been watching videos, and there's a video of you, and it just looks like you're really kissing her. But now I've got a whole different thing of that moment because you're just out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your lips are just on her.
Just like that, yeah. That's literally what it was like, yeah.
They photoshopped it for me.
It just looks like you're giving her a really long kiss.
Yeah, it was just amazing. It was amazing.
And how long were you in hospital for?
3 days I was.
Nice. Was that did that feel calm, being able to do those initial bits?
I wasn't allowed to be there.
No.
COVID.
Oh gosh, of course, it's a completely different thing.
So after Azaylia was born, I went into the room then. I'd done a first nappy, didn't know what I was doing.
Bit of olive oil, apparently.
Huh?
That's a top tip. Put a bit of olive oil
Oh,
on
really?
their bums as soon as they come out, because the black tar poo, it comes off.
Oh,
much
wow.
Oh, really? I mean,
just
yeah,
remembered.
yeah. Great advice, yeah. It's a shame that you weren't there.
Yeah, sorry.
but
If we could time hop, I would be totally there.
Yeah. Changed the first nappy, spent a bit of time there, and I had to go. I wasn't allowed to come back.
That
So,
must have been heart-wrenching,
Yeah.
having to leave.
Yeah.
When, everything, your world is in that room, and having to walk out.
straight away.
Yeah.
And I know it was hard for Saf as well because she just had the C-section.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, when you finally did come back home, I was kind of, for the first couple of weeks, I was kind of getting up and manoeuvring everything. And in the night, I'd get Azaylia and do that just to let her recover a little bit. But in hospital, you didn't have that luxury, did you? Because
There was understaffed. So unfortunately, because of people not being able to work, there was probably 2 nurses to the whole ward. And I was at one end of the ward as well, and I've never experienced a C-section, so Azaylia's there, trying to, move. And I thought, I can't move. She's being sick. How pressing the button. Obviously, there's other babies, other mums that are being attended to, and you can appreciate they're understaffed.
Yeah.
And not being able to attend to your baby is kind of reaching over, but then when you reach, you're pulling all these muscles that you've just suddenly had ripped open and whatever. And that was really, really difficult. Two solid days. I mean, I was probably a bit more nuts, like asking for the morphine and them kind of things, because I didn't have anybody to change nappies, didn't have anybody to get Azaylia changed, get anything out my suitcase, get anything for myself. So I kind of stewed in bed.
Yeah.
And really tried my hardest. And I remember one day she was just, first time I experienced it, when a baby's born, it's that sick.
Oh, yeah.
That's sick, where they just keep vomiting. It's like the fluid or something. So then she was going purple. And I'm literally running out of the room. Bearing in mind I couldn't move. I thought, what am I going to do? Running down the corridor to shout, she's going purple. It really scared me.
Yeah.
Really scared me. And nurse came, literally popped her over, out the sick cum. But I mean, I had to jump out of bed literally not long after having a C-section, like the same day.
Yeah.
To do that, and that was
Yeah.
really, really hard.
Yeah.
Hats off to every woman out there that's had a baby anyway and a C-section.
Yeah, it's funny.
Difficult.
I was talking about that earlier, how, when it comes to C-sections, they're not given enough credit for what they are.
I feel like they're kind of targeted as an easy option.
Yeah, and it's not that at all. It's major surgery that someone's going through. And like you say, it's many layers that have been cut open and stitched back together.
It's difficult, really, really hard. And then, having you there helping out, it was a blessing.
What was it like when they were finally home?
Yeah, to be honest, one thing I find strange, everyone will always say to you, your life will change, big difference. And what kind of bugs me about it is everyone kind of says it as if it's a negative or looks at you as if you're not going to be able to do it or it's going to be difficult. I didn't find one part of it difficult because doing something doing something that you love or doing something for the person that you love comes easy.
Yeah.
It comes natural because it's not about you, it's about them. So I just absolutely loved it. I mean, for me, I could have been a stay-at-home dad. Like I literally loved it, and I don't mind getting up in the night. I don't mind doing nappies. I just kind of loved being around my baby, and I loved what my baby brought to our lives. And like when I was tired of just doing meaningless stuff or doing stuff to try and occupy myself.
Yeah.
Now I had a little baby girl who took up all my time, took up all my attention, and I couldn't have thought of anything better. It was just perfect. So having them back was unbelievable for me.
Yeah.
And for the short period of time when I had to do most of the stuff because you couldn't move, that was fine as well. But it's also really good that she got on her feet really quick and took some of the load. I wasn't encouraging at all.
He's pampered, aren't you?
So what were those first few weeks like at home then, as a family unit? Were there loads of visitors? Were there more dancing in the lounge?
Visitors, weren't there?
They were hilarious.
We got to think, but at that point as well, what we forgetting? Still COVID. See, like
of course, no visitors.
See what a lot of people forget, and what we kind of like dismiss
period,
on a pregnancy, COVID, childbirth, COVID, first couple of months of child's life, COVID.
Yeah.
Finding out the news, going into hospital, COVID. There wasn't a stage where we were out of COVID.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So with all the family that did want to come around and did want to hold Azaylia and did want to be there, like window visits or, like going up someone's door or...
But I mean, like it did get lowered.
Yeah.
We did have that interval where it kind of did get lowered because that's where we've got like all of our family get-togethers, and we had a party, didn't we, for Azaylia and Anaya, and it was nice because it was being able to kind of bring the family together and like celebrate the two babies, and me and Amy would be running upstairs and changing nappies and it's kind of like, oh like God, this time last year we'd be drinking, or like you'd be up here like, and so we did have them like nice times where my brother, he was able to come with my nephew and my sister-in-law and be able to kind of come and meet her and to see the kids together.
To be honest though, it's really funny that you asked that question, because for me, honestly, that's a kind of time that I forgot about.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a bit it's a time that I forgot about because everything after was so, I don't know how to explain it, but you kind of forget that we had her when she was a healthy, beautiful little baby. I mean, she's always a beautiful baby, but you forget them times where we didn't know that she had leukemia.
Yeah. We
weren't battling. We had the times where it was just her being free and us trying to do normal stuff with our baby. So it's really weird that you brought that out, because it's the first time I've really thought about that stage in I don't know how long.
But I guess those are the really important memories to remember.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it's good to take time to look at those photos of those moments and videos.
Yeah.
And I think even off the back of lockdown, those moments like that were even more special because they were held back.
Yeah.
At what point did you start getting concerned about Azaylia? So I was changing her nappy one day, and this is looking back. So at the time, obviously, new mom, it's kind of like, oh, what's this? Or, oh, what's that? So these things kind of popped up. So at first, it was blood in her nappy. So it happened once, and I contacted the doctors, and it was just like, oh, like newborns, these things can kind of happen. Then it happened again, and I rang, and it's just like, oh, okay, is it a lot or still just a little bit? Okay, and then it didn't happen again.
Right.
And then the things like colic. Azaylia was breastfeeding, so like winding and all that kind of thing's not as significant as if you're bottle feeding. So it was a case of then expressing and putting the
the
Infocol
drops.
and the colic, them things in, so she'd get that. So it was kind of like very gradually over after 4 weeks, and this is only me looking back on pictures of in my on my iCloud to see when I sent them to the doctors. So 4 weeks, and then like a week later, and then it was colic, and then it was thrush in the mouth, which babies can get.
Yeah.
So went to the doctors again, got that. Then she got weighed. Then I went for the 6-week checkup into the doctors. But at this point, me looking back on it now, it's the biggest highlight ever, because I know the signs, I know the symptoms, and I think now, how did somebody else not know? She was literally had a 6-week checkup on the in the doctor's bed, felt for everything, looked in her eyes, everything, but that was a bit strange. Then everything's okay.
Right.
So then one day we came back home, and I was changing Azaylia's nappy again, and as I opened the nappy, I seen a bruise. But because she'd had colic and everything else that everybody was saying, everyone was kind of holding her, and she was enjoying being bounced, as like many babies do. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe somebody's kind of like pushed on in a bit too rough or something. And when I seen there was the bruise, because I already know I got a medical background, I put my finger over the bruise, and there was a lump under the bruise. So that's alarm bells already, being a lump under a bruise. So we took a picture, and then the following day sent the picture to the doctors, basically, which then that's when we started Azaylia's journey of her diagnosis. But if me looking back in hindsight through my pictures, signs of blood, signs of her stomach swollen, her stomach tummy was hard, her eyes were closed, cold type symptoms. So all of these things now that me and Ashley could just look at and think, that is the biggest alarm bell. It was really disheartening that there wasn't somebody in that process that could have helped, you know, because I'd constantly, if there was something wrong, I'd ring the doctors to ask about certain situations. And I wouldn't really say that I'm a panicking person. I'm a person that would see a problem and deal with a problem rather than doing anything else, you know, like calling doctors. You know, I think, oh, maybe we need some of this or try these options first. But considering I would just go to the doctors, to a professional, because I thought it's not myself, it's my daughter, it was conversations that we'd have. It's like, okay, doctors.
Well, I guess doctors are so used to seeing children with colic, children with colds, you know, babies get tummy things.
Yeah, but that's not good.
No.
For
but
me,
I mean,
this is why what we're doing is so important now, because we took our daughter to the doctors and we got told that she had a cold. We got told she had colic. We got told that she had constipation. We were given things for her nose to get snot out. We were given laxatives. All of that time, our daughter had such a high leukemia count. It was scary. She had tumours in her spine, in her stomach, in her spleen, in her lungs. And we're getting sent away from the doctors saying she's got constipation. Now, we pushed and we kind of pushed for that.
Yeah.
But if we'd have left it another 2 weeks, we'd have woke up at home and our daughter wouldn't have been breathing. So what we kind of want to do is we kind of want to make people aware of the signs and the symptoms. So then parents, if they do see something, they can catch it early. If they do get turned away from the doctors, they can go back in and push for another opinion or a second opinion, because a matter of weeks is crucial.
Yeah.
Even a matter of days is vital when you've got these symptoms. And that's the kind of scary thing. And that's why we want to kind of shine a light on childhood cancer. If you're going to a GP, right, like, and you've took your baby 3 times, take their blood.
Yeah.
Give them a test. Because, and if you are concerned about your baby, I feel like push for that.
And I think also that there's a lot to do with funding. in these areas, massive amounts that can be changed and give more awareness to by funding. And even taking a blood test, it costs money to take these blood samples, to put them through. So it's kind of like, these are areas that we're really trying to, at the minute, brainstorm of what we can do to try and make a bit of a change, aren't we? So I think that's important as well, like with the funds and education, of kind of bringing them together and giving an insight for everything. And that's, Azaylia didn't get put here for no reason. And we are going to make sure that we do our full force to help so many families, and the community together is to come together to make a difference.
Yeah.
Aren't we?
So with Azaylia, was the bruise and the lump the thing that completely changed everything?
Yeah. So basically, after sending over the picture to the doctors, the next day, as a new parents, we haven't had much time together, so we just decided to have a few hours and have a little bit of time out for us. And my mum was itching to look after her granddaughter, so it was kind of like, okay, you can have her for a few hours so we can have some quality time together. And in the meantime, I got a phone call to say from the doctors that Azaylia needs to go to A&E, like emergency, like you need to take her there.
But you're not told why at this point?
No,
She has to go.
just that she needs to go. From looking at the picture and giving a little bit of a write-up about it, she needs to go there. So what happened was, obviously my mum was looking after Azaylia. As I called her to tell her what the doctor said, she then said that she's in an ambulance already on the way to the hospital. So me and Ashley came back from where we were and we got straight to the hospital. And then at this point, our lives just crashed.
So we're obviously in the hospital, and we didn't know what we were going to get told, but from the kind of aura and the persona of the doctors around us, we kind of knew something that was wrong. And then the doctor came in and he told us that Azaylia had leukemia. And it wasn't just a normal count. So even if it's an adult and you have leukemia, you'd probably have a count between 30 and 50. She had a count of 200 as an 8-week-old girl. And not only did she have a white cell count of 200, she had tumours in her stomach, in her spleen, in her lungs, in her kidneys. And I know I can speak for both of us, but just talking to you as a person, my world turned upside down at that moment. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I didn't really know how to handle it and take it.
Also, I imagine at that point, you know that something's not quite right, but no parent's mind would go to that.
I didn't even know what leukemia was. And I didn't even know it was cancer until, like, a couple of weeks. My brain had just zoned out. And talking about leukemia, I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe we were in the hospital for a couple of weeks and she needs some antibiotics and she's going to be okay. We'll get to go home. And, like, I didn't know leukemia meant cancer. That's how uneducated I was about cancer. I didn't know.
But I don't even think it's that thing of being uneducated. I think cancer, when it comes to anything like that, we don't talk about it.
No.
It happens to people and it kind of gets... It's something that you don't talk about because that person is going through it. And you don't want to bring things up. But actually, not talking about things is where we get into problems. We should talk. We should be open about these experiences.
And also... if you see an advert on TV and it says 1 in 3 people are going to get cancer, I think, like, mentally, speaking about me, I think I could potentially have cancer. Then I look at Safiya and I think, well, if there's 1 in 3, that means one of us could get it. Then you think about your parents, your grandparents. Yeah. You don't think about your kids. You don't think they could be 1 in 3.
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing about it. And you can't blame anyone for that because until it happened to me, I was one of those people. I wasn't aware. There's not enough awareness around childhood cancer. And that's one thing that we learned. I mean, we thought as soon as we heard that news, we were broken. We were heartbroken. We were devastated. And then you kind of go into this world where you're on wards and that's a child with cancer. That's a child with cancer. Someone's messaging you on Instagram. They've got a child with cancer. They've lost a child with cancer. But at the time, it was just insane.
It was like another world. Like, it was suddenly like life just went. We was put in a hospital, new baby, and then I remember coming out of the doors and thinking, like, why are all these children pushing like this metal pole with like bags of like blood and this other stuff? Like, what? And they've got like tubes up their noses. And I thought that we were in a different ward, or there wasn't enough room for where we were meant to go. And like in the mornings, and then you kind of walk out because of COVID. It's kind of like limited areas. Seeing children without no hair and like being told that, you know, like they're being sick and this and that, and they can't go and play because of COVID. And I was genuinely thinking, like, where on earth am I? I remember walking out of the hospital and just like literally in my dressing gown, and it was just pouring down with rain. And I was just like, if I cannot do it, I can't be here. If my baby can't survive this, I do not want to be here. And the pain that we had when we were in intensive care, it kicked in. And Ashley came and was like, right, you know, we're going to make this promise. And it's like, this room now is called Room 100. Club 100, we called it.
It was I always in my life I go into survival mode. I don't curl up in a ball. I fight. No matter what it is, I'll fight, and I give myself the best chance. I give whoever is around me the best chance, because that's what I believe in. And it was. I actually think initially when we found out, Safiya was there listening, and as soon as we found out, I just crumbled.
Yeah.
I couldn't. You couldn't talk to me. I couldn't deal. I didn't know what to do. But then after that first couple of hours or that first night, I just flicked up and I thought, pull yourself together. This isn't about you. This isn't about us. I thought, we cannot take our daughter's illness away. We cannot cure her. But the one thing we can control is the energy around her. Now, babies are sensory beings. They might not be able to understand what we are saying, but they can definitely pick up on our energies and our aura. So I seen Saf, we were both struggling, but I seen Saf was struggling. I said, look, yeah, you make a promise to me now. I said, this room, I said, is Club 100. I said, do not let Azaylia see you with that smile on your face. Do not let her see you be unhappy. I said, you want to be unhappy? I said, go out the room. But I said, but while we are in here, we are 100 every day. I said, because we have to give our daughter the best chance of surviving we can possibly give. Because you know this, if you're stressed, if you're depressed, if you have anxiety, your body feels weak.
Yeah.
You can actually make yourself ill with no illness.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are ill, the last thing you want is people around you bringing you down. And it's just so crazy that we thought, I thought that we're going to have to be positive and bright around her to bring her through this. But actually, she was the brightest light in the room. She was the positive person. She was the strongest one. She was the bravest one. And everything that she held in her body radiated to everybody in the room around her. We looked to her for positivity. We looked to her for smiles. We looked to her for strength. We looked to her for courage. It was absolutely insane. And through being on this journey firsthand, I know a lot of people see the videos online, they see the pictures. But as a parent that was with her every single day and seen her, I've genuinely and honestly, I've met some people in my life. I've never met anybody as strong as my little girl. And I've never met anybody that influences me and inspires me as much as my little girl. And that's why I say that she's my hero, because I genuinely mean it, because everything that she did on a day-to-day basis and everything that she overcome and every effect that she had on people around her was absolutely unbelievable. And I had the best days of my life in there. It was the hardest time of my life, but I genuinely had the best days of my life in that hospital room because I was with her. And she was so special. Honestly, if I could I would give the remaining years of my life up to do it all again.
Really?
I'd give the remaining years of my life up to have a hug or a kiss, and that's the honest truth, because that's how much she means.
There was definitely a feeling of someone outside looking in, that you were both making every moment count. You know, there wasn't a time where, you know what I mean? And I imagine having to go through that because of COVID times separately. Were you like passing ships and having to, because I know that you had your times where you were with Azaylia, and then Ashley, you had your, like, was that difficult almost going through it together, but having to do that separately?
Do you know what? When you are selfless to your baby, you have your baby.
Yeah.
Do you care whether your hair is brushed? Do you care whether you've eaten? Do you care whether you got fresh clothes? Do you care about these things? And for us, it was our feelings did not matter. That our feelings are now locked away.
Yeah.
And it's Azaylia's feelings. Is Azaylia happy? Does Azaylia need playing with? Has she had a chemotherapy? Are her nappies changed constantly? Is attending to your baby is your priority?
Yeah.
Our feelings, we didn't have a relationship. Did we moan about it? No, we didn't. What happens is you're put in a survival mode, and because it was COVID, it was kind of like swap we had like a pattern that would work. So I would sleep, Ashley would sleep, and we'd change over. And like Ashley would always say, if it wasn't for COVID, he wouldn't have been able to spend as much time with his daughter and create that bond that he did.
Yeah.
And to me, hearing that is so special. It's so nice to hear that, because as much as, like you say, you feel like you're giving her the energy, like playing, like I would always have a routine. Morning, it would be bath, even if we'd swap, it would be bath time, cream her, get her dressed, and it's playtime. Then the nurses come in, everybody starts playing, she has a chemo, and all of these kind of things. There was a routine that I had to try and implement while we was there. And after 8 weeks of just having a C-section as well, and being put straight into a hospital in a chair to sleep in, that's something where you would genuinely feel like, oh, poor me. There was none of that.
Yeah.
It was just simply Azaylia, priority. Nothing else mattered, did it?
No.
Nothing.
When you say about COVID, it might seem like backwards logic, or it might seem something that you think, really? But like I said to Saf, and I said to my family, I said, and COVID wasn't a blessing in disguise, because I know that COVID's affected a lot of people, businesses, and health. Yeah. When I look back at it, only having one parent allowed in the room at a time, not being able to have family there to support and all of that kind of stuff, that aspect of it was a blessing in disguise for me, because we had no signal on our phones. We had a TV with 2 channels on it. So that meant every single minute of the day that you were in there with your baby, you were spent interacting. And I honestly feel that I've known her for 100 years. I look at my mum and I think of her relationship with me, and I think my relationship with my daughter, I feel like I've known her longer than you've known me. Because you never, they're saying that you never realise what you've got until it's gone.
Yeah.
But you're in an environment where something worse than death is happening every day. Like my life didn't mean anything. If I would have gave up my life like that. So having her with that illness, I was fearing losing her every single day. The thing that I love the most. So you can imagine how much effort and how much you make the most of that situation and how much you appreciate it. And if you've seen videos of her and you think how old she was at the time and what she was doing, she understood. I could say, "Morning, champ," and she'd look at me and smile, and I could talk to her about the day, and I'd go, "Are you listening to me, beautiful?" And she'd like react to me like sassy. She knew what was going on, and she was very reactive. And despite all the health problems that she was going through, she was extremely advanced, and that's what was surprising to us and all the doctors around us. We had the physiotherapists coming in, we had the child development people coming in, and they couldn't believe that she was sitting up. They couldn't believe she could stand on her 2 feet. They couldn't believe that she was rolling over and crawling. All of these things, that she was kind of ahead of other children her age that were healthy. And I just think that's because she had pure hands-on love and care. 100%. And obviously she was a lion.
Which so many children and parents don't have, because when you're at home, you've got a million other things that you're doing, whereas it's so special to have had that time where it's literally you have tunnel vision.
Do you know when you're being told that when your daughter goes to transplant, she's not going to be able to sit up, she's not going to be able to eat, she's not going to be able to play, and she probably won't have much interaction with you. I remember sitting in the ward, and opposite the ward was like a how would you cut it? Like a walkway, a corridor to like the next window.
Yeah.
And I remember keep looking in that room thinking, okay, she's playing here. Once we get into there, she's not going to be able to do all of these things. And I thought, yes, she is. Yes, she is. And I thought, do you know what? Got her a bumbo seat out. She's like 12 weeks old at this point. And I'm thinking, you've got to learn how to sit up, because when you're going in there, they're telling me that you can't do this and you're not going to do that. Bumbo seat was out, weren't it? Sitting in a bumbo seat. And my nephew, he hated his bumbo seat. He would scream his head off like you weren't getting... She kind of... I put the pillows in and made sure she was like fully safe in a bumbo seat to start learning her core strengths to get her strong.
Yeah.
And like feeding, they was saying, oh, she's not going to be able to eat. That was it. Got out the rusks, put it in her hand. And she had an absolute field day. Loved it. Introduced food, and that was what you was really excited that morning actually when they come and bought the food pots, and he was like, wait for Saf, like she's gonna come. And I walked upstairs and they had the food pots ready for me, because I mean we couldn't go to a shop, we couldn't do anything, so it's kind of like being in an area. It's like, please can we get this?
Because you were both completely in isolation as well, weren't you? You weren't going out.
No.
You were literally
From when we had to go, we basically got told, went into Coventry Hospital, and then we got transferred to Birmingham Children's Hospital. We didn't go home from where we were, so we didn't get any clothes. We literally went straight to Birmingham and then got a hotel. And all we used to do was literally, I'd be in bed and then I'd come downstairs from the hotel, walk across the road like that, meet Saf outside, and we'd just do that. And then we'd just do that. We didn't go to a shop. We didn't go out.
Well, with everything going on, I guess you just want to limit any chances of picking up anything
100%.
else.
There was not a single chance that we were going to risk, you know what I mean, our daughter's chances. Everything was against her. And I mean, a lot of kids that are battling cancer, they have to have obviously chemotherapy, which lowers your immune system. You have to have transplants, which wipes your immune system out completely. So a lot of the time, it isn't the cancer that can take your child's life. It's the infections that you get along with it. But we were literally on our hands and knees, wiping the floor with wet wipes, wiping the walls. We made sure that sometimes we change a nappy, 26 times a day.
That's not even a lie.
Yeah, because when she had a wee, we knew there was chemo. We knew there was
it was basically the chemotherapy had come out into the urine, and when the chemotherapy has been put in, it when you like urine, it's acid. So what happens is it can burn the skin. So we actually used to leave Azaylia open. And like her nappies open, make a little archway so she could still play and interact with her. But then as soon as she would have a wee, it was straight away bowl, wash, gloves on as well, because the acid, we weren't allowed to actually we'd have to change her nappy, because obviously the acid from the chemotherapy, then it's cross-contamination, burn the skin, all of these kind of things.
We could change our outfits 16 times a day, just because we left it open on purpose. So it was constant care, and for most of the time the nurses would bring your medication in, and we would do the medication ourselves. It wasn't like you were in somewhere where you've got care, because it was COVID. There wasn't even nurses allowed. We had like a
anti-room.
An anti-room. So basically, we had 4 sets of clothes that we had to leave in there. If I walked in, I'd have to clean my phone down, I'd have to clean my watch down, I'd have to take these clothes off to put my new clothes on. Everything had to be spot on. But I think
it was all worth it.
No.
Everything was worth it to make sure that she was not put in a position where we left her open to any kind of infection. So I
think the first time we spoke was when you were saying something online. You were making a joke about not being able to iron.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't iron anyway.
Yeah. It was literally, we had 4 sets of clothes in there, and they literally just throw your stuff in a 60-degree wash, and then it gets put into a plastic bag and brought back into your room.
Right.
And then you put them clothes back on. It was a rotation, and that's what it was, weren't it? But obviously, through COVID and everything, like, we literally didn't go anywhere because Azaylia was fighting. She was strong. We weren't going to let her down.
They didn't think she'd make it past the first round of chemotherapy, and she flew through it. She didn't have any side effects from the chemotherapy. She didn't pick up no serious infections. We got to the second round of chemotherapy. They didn't think she'd make it through the second round of chemotherapy. She flew through it.
It must be so hard, constantly being told she's not going to make it through this.
Yeah, it's devastating, because you get
being shot in your kneecaps.
Every bit of news was. You never had a break with good news. So what I'm trying to say is, if you got a bit of good news, next day it would be bad, or next day it'd be something. So she'd get through that round, they'd give her a problem. But she got through the second round. Transplant, it's heartbreaking. They told us that she was in the high-risk category for transplant complications and the low-risk category for transplant success. We were on it through transplant. We didn't let anything go out of our sight. She didn't have any infections, any complications. She engrafted within 7 weeks. She took onto the new donor within 2 weeks, and she was fully engrafted, as in her immune system came back up within 7 weeks. It was phenomenal. So I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and it got to the point where the doctors and the oncologists couldn't believe it either. And then it just it turned out that there was nothing else that they could do. Her disease was coming on so thick and fast. They couldn't intercept it. And I mean, we imagine this one. So she'd fully engrafted. She got through transplant. We're on the way, while we're in the hospital, ready to ring the bell to say that she's not an inpatient anymore. Yeah. We thought we're going home. We went in there, we were celebrating the whole way to the hospital, because we'd just been home for a week. We were celebrating, we're like, we're going to take our daughter home, we're on the way to recovery. So we're literally all the nurses waiting in the corridor. We're just about to go outside to ring the bell. And then they come in and say that she's relapsed. But not only has she relapsed, she's had a big relapse. This is just, we're thinking, we're on the way home, we're done. And we were not in a good position at all.
But you still went out and you rang that bell.
We rang the bell because she hit that milestone, and she deserved to.
A moment from outside looking in, that was such a moment, seeing you all go, but she's done this.
We weren't going to ring the bell, and then I said, let's ring the bell. I said she achieved it. Yeah. She had a transplant. She engrafted, and she was at that point where she earned the right to ring the bell, and no matter how we feel, we're not taking that away from her. Do you know what I mean? She's got there. So that's why we rang it, because it was important for us, like, the whole way of this journey to be positive. You know, even though she probably couldn't understand what I was saying, it was vital for me right up until the end to believe 100% that she was going to do it, because I wanted her to always know that her daddy believed in her. So, you know, when you've got someone that's going to back you the whole way.
One thing that was incredible was how the public were so taken with Azaylia. And even talking about donors, how many people started donating? How many people signed up?
80,000 in one
80
weekend.
In a weekend.
And that's all because of Azaylia. You know,
More
and
than they'd had in 2 years.
yeah.
Crazy.
But it also goes to show, though, people aren't aware of these things. And I think for most people, they kind of go, well, it means nothing to me to sign up and be a donor. Whether
Just a
it's
swab.
blood,
Do you
Just
see?
a swab, that's all it is.
just that.
Do
And
you understand now?
Yeah, and you can literally save someone's life just from doing that tiny little thing.
Yeah. Can you see why we're so passionate about
Yeah.
this? We didn't intend for it to ever be that way. Like,
We wish we weren't in this
I-
situation.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't wish this situation on my worst enemy, but in the first place, I was just saying to Saf, I want to post it because she means so much. You post what you're proud of, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of my baby, and I want to post it. And then things started like unraveling, and then you start to realise how important this actually is.
The community around us were just incredible straight away.
People seemed so invested. They cared. They were genuine, and I believe that the public and the community really helped us through this journey by all the love, all the care, and all the support they actually shown. And I don't think they realise how much their messages and their support actually meant to us, and how much power it gave us through the whole journey.
We felt like we had a big family. That's what it felt like. Like we had a huge family that we could just lean on. And to feel that comfort from strangers that we don't even know but feel protected.
Yeah.
I felt like we was looked after, and that was because of everybody that came together kind of held us close, and we felt like we had the pillows. And it may be difficult to kind of message each and every person back, but to know that we felt so much love and so much support, and still do, and still really appreciate all the effort that everybody wants to give us for this charity, for Azaylia's journey, means the world to us. All of these things were so much appreciated. The messages, the gifts, the love, the support, everything.
Well, and there was a point where there was possibly an option of flying. Was it to Singapore?
Singapore.
And you knew that you needed a certain amount of money to be able to
We
make
needed
that
a
happen.
minimum.
Yeah. Was it a minimum of 500,000? And you got to 1.5, and it went up so quickly. What I found incredible about that was I mean, you had the occasional like £10,000 thrown in, but it was the volume of people giving a tiny amount, but how quickly that built up.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Within 3 hours, weren't it?
Yeah, I personally think, with the support around the world, I personally think if it was 3 million, we'd have got there. If it was 5, I think we'd have got there. And I think that's just, it's a reflection of, we appreciate the support, but when we dig into it as well, a lot of people are thankful for sharing Azaylia's journey, thankful to us for sharing Azaylia's journey. A lot of people tell us that Azaylia and her journey has changed their lives. And I mean, Azaylia, our kind of journey and Azaylia's journey was going on when the world was going through COVID. And I think it really helped some people in a way, because a lot of people were feeling sorry for themselves during COVID. A lot of people were stressed out, they were anxious, they were feeling depressed. They were going through a lot themselves, which I appreciate. But I think having a look what was happening in our situation and with Azaylia gave a lot of people a reason to be like, what have I got to complain about? If that little girl can do this, I can get up and do that. And I think it was inspirational for some parents. I know that a lot of dads have messaged me now saying, I'm going to make an extra effort with my child. I'm going to now see my child. I'm going to do this for my child. A lot of people have been messaging us saying it saved their relationships. This journey has taught us, I think, that we want to be good people. We want to do good things. And our daughter's passing will not be in vain.
One thing you both have done incredibly from the outside, you celebrated Azaylia every single day. And when you took her home, when you knew that there were no more treatments, that she could come home with you.
What we did is live in the present of making sure she didn't feel that energy of sadness.
Yeah.
When her eyes opened, she seen smiles, she heard music. You see her on the videos that you've seen, she's holding a green bean in her hand that she really wouldn't want to eat. And she would hold her green bean and you hear that music, or if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, or ooby doo. And we'd sing to her and bring that energy of joy. And she wants to poke you, she wants to grab a green bean, she wants to do all of these things. So why would I let my baby lie in my arms and me cry over her to see sadness?
We talk so much about, our children changing who we are as humans, and change is seen as a strange thing. We shouldn't change. We should be stationary. But that's absolutely ridiculous because you have to change. Otherwise, you're a plonker. But it's so clear how much becoming parents has changed you both and how much Azaylia has changed you both with everything that she is. But that's also through you guys. Like our children are a part of us. And it's incredible that she's given you so much drive moving forward. And part of that is with her foundation.
100%.
Talk to me about this foundation.
It gives me chills. It gives me pleasure. It makes me sad.
But it's sad that such a foundation even has to exist,
Yeah, because it's like, I wish I wasn't in this position, but knowing that I'm representing Azaylia and she's changed my life in a way that I didn't think that she would, this situation is like, it gives me chills of that she hasn't gone through all of this for no reason, and that we've still got Azaylia with us. And the charity, I feel like, for me, I am now watching my daughter grow up, and to be able to change and help so many people in our community and all the children going forward and education and like making such amazing things happen for children is something that I didn't ever think would be something that I would be serving purpose for. And for me, that passion that comes with education and delivering it at full force for Azaylia's charity is just so, so, so special. And when we're gone, we want to make sure that her legacy continues. And it's because of her that there's so much change and awareness.
So what are your aims with the with the foundation, with the charity? And what are you, because you're both taking different roles within it as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, slightly different roles. Fundamentally, we want to help children fighting childhood cancer and their families. We want to raise awareness. Mm-hmm. We want to raise awareness for the situations that we've talked about earlier in this podcast. We want to raise funds to be able to help these kids, because we're aware that for us, we managed to raise that money, but for other parents, it might not be so accessible. And the stress that they must have knowing that they can't raise that money for the life-saving treatment for their child must be devastating in itself. So we want to raise funds. We want to bring treatments, such as the treatments that we were having to raise so much money for, to the UK. These treatments are here. The CAR-T therapy that we had to raise all that money for is available in Birmingham. They just haven't got enough money to put it into trial.
Wow.
How crazy is that? I mean, it's been such a lengthy progress putting all this together. We've had to work extremely hard with a great team to make this happen, because setting up a charity is far more complex than setting up a business.
Yeah.
We wanted to ensure that it's all done correctly, that it's transparent, and that it's going to be the correct setup so it could be the most beneficial to the people that we are trying to help.
And I think my purpose with the charity is definitely education. Education means so much to me because it can change so much at such an early stage. And I feel like making magical times for children is something that I'm very passionate about.
Bringing Club 100 to as many
Yes,
children as possible.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Hey, we may have a name.
Club 100.
And that will be my purpose that I'm going to be like really, really strong on.
If you could write a letter on being a mum or being a dad, who would it be to and what would you say?
So my letter would be to Azaylia, and that would be solely to say thank you so much for making me the person that I am today, and for teaching me how to grow and to know what strength is, and for giving me a hero in my life, because I've never had one, and to say a massive thank you for everything that you've taught me, and I promise that I will do everything on earth to make sure that we've got an eternity together.
I don't think I can say it much better than that, to be honest. Safiya said it all. I think it would simply be like, I love you. I'll see you soon.
Yeah,
I'll make you proud.
We end each episode with you finishing 3 sentences. So the first one is, being a mum or being a dad means?
Everything.
I was going to say everything.
The world. The
world.
answer for you.
Since having a child, I
Have learnt to become the woman that I would have only dreamed to have been, and the mum.
Have had the best days of my life.
The final one is, I'm happy when?
I feel connected with my daughter.
It's a difficult one.
You've spoken about happiness and how you don't feel like you're going to feel happy.
It's the first time I've been speechless because I'm not really happy. And like I said, I don't see myself being happy. But I guess I'm happy when I'm riding on my bike and I see an orange sky as I'm coming back home, because I know that she's shown me a sign that she's okay. So yeah, that makes me happy.
Those
And the rainbow.
skies that you're getting, guys, are just
absolutely insane.
incredible. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Whenever I see one, I'm like, guys.
Everybody said I've never
Yeah.
seen such a bright orange sky so often in my life. It seemed like it was every night at one point. So I just think, like, yeah, I'm happy when I see an orange sky, because when I say my prayers at night, or when I'm feeling like I'm struggling, I always ask her for a sign, and I always ask God to be able to show me a sign. And I say, Azaylia, show me a sign, because in your signs I get my strength, and with my strength I'm going to do some amazing things in this world in your name for these children. So I always ask for the signs, and when I get them, it does put a smile on my face and I have a lovely moment.
I've got no doubt that you're going to do so much amazing work.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you
You've been
so
amazing.
much. Thank you. It's been such a lovely experience to sit down and talk to you both. And I do think this is the start of something incredible for you in Azaylia's name.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us, and I'm sure that there'll be a lot of your listeners that followed our journey, so a massive thank you to them too,
Yeah,
because
thank
no
you.
doubt they were supporting us and helping us get to the point that we're at now, so massive thank you to them as well.
Let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ.
Let's go.